What's going on, everyone? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is our morning news update here in crypto. We got a couple things to talk about. We have a big story coming from the SEC that could be giving us confirmation the U.S. government could be about to shut down. But before we jump into that, make sure you go ahead and smash that like. And if you are new, hit subscribe as we are quickly growing one of the faster growing channels in crypto YouTube. We cover everything you need to know about the news, the TA, so that you can invest and trade as wisely and as responsibly as possible. Quick look at some things this morning going to my screen. This morning, we did have an inflation rate year over year come in for the EU, coming in lower than last month and lower than expected. So Europe continuing to actually get their inflation slightly under control. That's a positive sign for Europe, positive sign for a lot of markets as well. Even though this will have happened by the time you guys are watching this video, this has not happened just yet at the time of recording this. 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the U.S. will be getting the core PCE price index month over month. We'll look at personal spending and personal income. At the moment, the expectation is spending will slightly decrease from last month from 0.8 to somewhere between 0.4 and 0.6%, and the personal income should actually increase from 0.2% to somewhere between 0.4 and 0.3. So we will cover that this afternoon in our 4 p.m. live show, but make sure you guys are keeping an eye out for that. We're still expecting a pause on our next Fed meeting in November. Our Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index is ticking in this morning higher, up at 48, squarely back in neutral. So we'll definitely want to keep an eye on that. Let's take a look at our coin market cap numbers this morning. Bitcoin and Ethereum hovering between 2 and 3% up in the last 24 hours. We do have some bigger movers like Tron in our top 20, almost up 5%. Solana's up almost 5% as well. And that looks like the biggest movers of our top 20 coins. Let's take a look at biggest gainers overall. Pepe is our biggest gainer, up to over 12%. Sui right behind it, almost 12%. Compound continues to be on a tear, up 9% in the last 24 hours. Also, Gallon Arbitrum had some good days as well. Not really any big losers. Of course, Terra had a big day a couple of days ago. They're down 2%. Maker down 4%. But as a whole, not too many losers in the crypto space. Before we jump into the charts, I want to throw it to T Shroom for some headlines this morning that maybe if you're just waking up, you haven't been able to do any research. T Shroom, what's happening this morning in the news?
Absolutely, Tim. There's a lot going on. The big one is that the SEC has delayed decisions on the 4 spot Bitcoin ETF filing ahead of the government shutdown. This kind of gives a little bit of a clue, kind of shows the cards of where the government itself thinks that this might be going, this shutdown might be headed. On September 28th, the SEC made separate announcements for BlackRock along with Bitwise, Invesco, Galaxy Digital, and Valkyrie. So that was yesterday, and the decision was that they're going to delay it. The deadline for making the decision for these ETF applications was actually scheduled between October 16th to 19th. So they're way ahead of schedule with this, which is uncharacteristic for the SEC. However, due to an impending government shutdown expected this weekend, the SEC expedited its announcement. So maybe it's not news to you. Maybe you're following the shutdown news really closely, but this, at least to Tim and I, is a pretty clear indication that, hey, like the government's kind of showing its cards here. They're shutting down. That has all kind of implications that we'll probably talk about in future shows, maybe the live show later today at 4 p.m. But, we're going to get on with some other stories here. If you didn't see it yesterday, huge news. This guy here, this Twitter account, Eric Bolchanas, he is kind of showing the cards for the SEC here. A lot of cards being shown today. That there's going to be an ETH ETF, albeit futures ETF, going out on Monday, more than likely there. Again, the rumor is that this is a result of the looming government shutdown, and the SEC just needs to get it out ASAP. The odds are now 90% that the Valkyrie ETF will go out. Now, this is the one that's a hybrid. It's Bitcoin and ETH, but that is still an ETH ETF. So very interesting news coming out there. I would say this is still, it's not in the rumor category, right? But there's a percentage. So it's not like a sure thing, but the markets are betting that it is going to happen as crypto prices get bidded to the upside. New U.S. bill will require firms to report off-chain transactions to CFTC. So this is kind of addressing the OTC markets, right? And they've been a big they come out around the bull market, right, when there's really big movements of buying and selling and nobody knows how it's happening. Well, now if you're a firm, at least you're going to have to start reporting that to the CFTC. So that'll be interesting there. PayPal's patent files show interest in NFTs and layer twos. So PayPal not done with their entry into the crypto space. I don't know what the heck that is. That is something completely different. Bitcoin price hits 2,700 on Binance, and the CEO sees he breaks his silence. Basically, what happened here is there's a glitch, right? And you can see on this chart, you can see this crazy wick that comes down all the way to 2,700. This nobody bought, nobody sold down at those levels. This is just a computer glitch. And our last headline here: Circle intervenes in the Binance SEC case, argues stablecoins aren't a currency. Stablecoin buyers don't expect a profit, so it's not an investment contract, argues the USDC issuer, supported by former committee regulator Heath Tarbert. So this is pretty big. Circle, of course, being very compliant, a very compliant organization, similar to Coinbase in the crypto space. So, Tim, that's going to be our stories for the day. Anything jump out at you? You're ready to hop on into the charts.
Yeah, no, there's a couple things there, but we're going to go into more detail as always in our 4 p.m. show. So make sure you guys are checking that out every single day. That's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So wherever you are, make sure you adjust accordingly. But let's go ahead and check out some charts. Let's explore what's happening. Bitcoin, as we're shooting in right now, just dropped back below 27,000. But there's some couple things here I want to take a look at. We do see, after a red reversal we had on the daily chart here just a couple of days ago, we're going back to the upside. We don't have bearish divergence happening here. We definitely have room on our daily chart to the upside when it looks at the oscillators. The 4-hour chart has a couple of things I want to show you, a little bit concerning to me. But there's a couple things happening here. We did reject off our daily dynamic reactor, just like we did for the last couple of times. We cannot turn this dynamic reactor green again, which we had it green for so long. It is red with 3 rejections now. So bulls, if you want to make some moves, you got to get above that dynamic reactor. That's something I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on. We have waves on the daily chart all the way up closer to $30,000. So if the bulls pick up some momentum, keep an eye on that. But there's some other things here when I go down to the 4-hour chart. I want to take a look at, for starting off with the oscillators here. Oscillators definitely flashing overbought T-Shroom. We're getting an engulfing candle on the 4-hour RSI, which of course you guys know with Chart Prime, we have these histograms, gives us kind of a swing of momentum. So a lot of bearishness on the 4-hour chart. I do want to go ahead and point out there's still some room the bulls have to do before I have a lot of confidence, T-Shroom, but breaking this longer term resistant level that we've been talking about over the last couple of days and reusing it as support like we currently are, that's a comforting sign to the bulls. But as we know from previous times, there's lots of examples of breaking resistance and then losing it and turning it into resistance once again. So again, not only do the bulls need to break that daily dynamic reactor, they also need to hold this red line as support rather than resistance. I also want to take a look. Let's pull these oscillators down and let's take a look at our fixed range volume profile with Bitcoin. Price at the moment is hovering right above our right, using now our value area high as support. That is a good sign again, guys. Very positive, but again, it's so close. Let's see it continue to hold. We also are above our golden pocket here on Fibonacci, but we do have some room before we make it up to that platinum pocket that could still be used as resistance like it was here just a couple of days ago. That, of course, is about 27,400. Now, I did find out this morning, T-Shroom, we are in the positive sign, staying above this level here at 26.5. We are not going to have billions of dollars lost. There will still be some money lost in Bitcoin because there's higher levels that spoke that some people would lose money. They thought Bitcoin would be a little higher. But this is a win for Bitcoin. It turns out that came out at 8 a.m. I can't remember what time it was something else. Pretty much 4 a.m. this morning Eastern Standard Time is what that options expiry had to beat. Sure enough, it did it. So this is a positive sign for Bitcoin. They won that. That is a good sign for the bulls. And of course, that government shutdown. Historically, government shutdowns are not necessarily doom and gloom for Bitcoin. They could be a very positive sign. But again, there's still some rejection coming in 4-hour chart. We got a reversal. We touched that red cloud. The good news is we are above our 4-hour dynamic reactor. So let's continue to see that hold for Bitcoin. We do have a long way to go, though, for the bulls to gain a lot of confidence. Let's take a quick look at Ethereum, and we'll call it a wrap this morning. Ethereum as well, beating out its option expiry here at 1650. We made it all the way this morning, earlier this morning, all the way up to almost to 1700, back to 1688. Currently, we're hovering around 1668, but a win for Ethereum as they beat their options expiry as well. Let's take a look at some oscillators here. Just like Bitcoin, we are getting overextended. We are seeing those overbought flashes with red reversals deep into the 4-hour cloud. So definitely want to keep an eye out for a potential retracement. But as long as we in this shorter time frame are setting higher highs and higher lows, you shouldn't be that concerned. Let's take a look at the daily chart, just as we did with Bitcoin. Again, lots of room to the upside, but pay attention. Be careful if we're not able to clear this price level, actually right here, 1727. We want to go for daily closes. If we're not able to clear that, we clearly are setting up some bearish divergence already with the oscillators being higher despite the fact that prices are lower. So this is another thing bulls need to continue to pick a momentum to cancel out bearish divergence that could send us to the downside. With that said, though, that's all we're going to cover this morning. We got a lot more to jump into this afternoon, so make sure you come back once again, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With that said, on your way out, smash the like button, hit subscribe, and we'll see you later today.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.